The study of our history is essential to understand our reality in education, and it's that over time the concept and social representations about disability have been modified as well as social contexts. In the ancient age, people with disabilities had no value and were discarded and abandoned to their fate. On some occasions, they were even used as buffons or condemned to begging. Over time, people with disabilities began to be considered as subjects of passive care, that is, without decision-making capacity. For this, special institutions were created in order to fulfill the function of meeting the needs of people considered special. This model is called model of dispensation. With the advancement of science, people with disabilities began to be the object of medicine, the subject of diagnosis and rehabilitative treatment. The idea of norm or abnormality is used. The more rehabilitated the person, the more integrated they can be in society. In the medical rehabilitation model, we can talk about people with disabilities or special needs, two ways of naming that other as different. Finally, the social model. The social model considers that disability is not a problem of the person and their characteristics. Instead, it is the problem of our societies. Disability arises in the interaction of the people with their environment, from the encounter between the characteristics of the person and the design of proposals of the society in which they live. This model proposes to remove these barriers to achieve the full inclusion and participation of all in all areas of life, and in this way make sure that each one of the members of society can live and develop with equal opportunities. These models are based on so-called concepts that are frequently employed in the same context, and some are even used synonymously, but their meaning is not the same. Exclusion versus segregation. The term exclusion emerges when the notion is retained that there are people who are normal and others who are not. In this way, people with functional diversity are rejected by society because they have specific needs that are different from the vast majority, thus inferring that having a disability entails being inferior to the rest. Exclusion occurs when students are directly or indirectly prevented or denied access to education in any form. Segregation. Segregation happens when people from a certain social group are separated from the rest of society for reasons of racial, cultural, sexual, religious, gender, ethnic origin. In an educational atmosphere, segregation occurs when the education of students with disabilities is provided in separate environments, designed or used to respond to a particular impairment, in isolation from students without disabilities. Integration versus inclusion. Integration is a process of classing people with disabilities in existing mainstream educational institutions, as long as the former can adjust to the standardized requirements of such institutions. In terms of integration, people who are not considered normal are expected to become acclimated to the rest of society, and the idea is that the more normal you seem, the more you will be integrated. Inclusion. On the other hand, inclusion involves a process of systematic reform avoiding changes and modifications in content, teaching methods, approaches, structures, and strategies in education to overcome barriers with a vision serving to provide all students of the relevant age range with an equitable and participatory learning experience and environment that best corresponds to their requirements and preferences. Inclusion is about embracing individual differences and coexisting in harmony, forming a plural society. It also promotes equal opportunities and values diversity as a human right.